and welcome to Fantasy Breakouts, episode 4. I'm Pat. That's Eric. Now we'll give you a brief rundown about the episode. First, we're going to go through some rankings for Week 7, and then we'll get into some trade comments, and then some different scenarios that me and Eric ran through. Okay? So, first of all, Eric, do you want to kick off your QB list for Week 7?
All right, so for the QB list for this week, I have a new number 1. I'll be going with Russell Wilson. I think that he's going to be going to Arizona, and Arizona's pass defense is actually ranked well, but the last 2 games they faced Flacco and Andy Dalton. Arizona's not going to be ready for this offense this week, so I got them. I got Russell Wilson 1, Pat Mahomes 2, Kyler Murray against Seattle number 3. So that's against Russell Wilson. So I'm calling for a shootout that game. Aaron Rodgers number 4, Josh Allen with a bounce back game this week. Deshaun Watson number 6 against the Packers. Matt Stafford 7, and Matt Ryan versus Detroit. There's some buzz about him possibly leaving the team and just a lot of kind of chaos right now. But I really can't see that. They have him under contract until 2022, basically. They can't really get out of that. He's got $50 million dead cap next year, so I really don't see him leaving. I think the first time we're going to have Justin Herbert. I have Justin Herbert at 9, so do you. I think he's a very safe play this week against Jacksonville. If he's not accurate or if he's having issues throwing, he's going to run for you. Mm-hmm. So what do you think about that, Pat?
I have to agree, man, especially come off the bye. We talked about it the other day. They're hot, man. Honestly, we were thankful that Anthony Lynn, I love Tyrod and whatnot, but Justin Herbert definitely brings a different element to this offense. And as far as that, he's spreading the ball, man. And getting the ball to the receivers is good for, everybody that's a receiver who has pass catchers in this Chargers offense. And going forward, this is going to work well for everybody.
Right. Yeah, I agree for sure. So we have Big Ben number 10 right now, and Ryan Tannehill. He's going to be facing the best run defense in the league this week. So we'll get to Derrick Henry, but they're definitely a pass funnel. They're seventh worst against the pass, the Steelers are. So I like Ryan Tannehill. Teddy B, number 12. Drew Brees, 13. And then from then on, it starts getting a little bit sketchy. We don't have the cushy matchups like last week. We got a lot of good teams on buys, so I'm a little bit nervous about Cam Newton, a little bit nervous about Tom Brady. Just on the outside looking in, I have Wentz. I think he's going to be worth just being, if you don't have any of those guys, if you are having troubles with the bye weeks, I think he's a good option.
Quarterbacks, Pat Mahomes, number 1. I get what you're saying with Russell, but, that Chiefs offense, they just added another Le'Veon to that equation, and that's not going to be fun for other people. Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Deshaun, Aaron Rodgers, Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan. I do also have Justin Herbert as number 9. Big Ben, I think some people are down on him right now, but then again, I don't think, their defense did so good last week. I don't think they really need him to do stuff like that. They use Claypool in a lot of dynamic ways, handing the ball behind reverse, all that type of stuff. So he didn't really have to throw. Drew Brees, I have Drew Brees over Teddy Bridge. Michael Thomas should be back. And I go into my thinking with that is Carolina's terrible against, running backs, period, right? He just has to dump it off to Kamara, and it's a wrap after that. And I think that's very, very crucial because obviously Kamara's the best running back out of the 2 teams. I think he can break stuff open real quick. Ryan Tannehill, 13. I'm just worried about, obviously Tennessee has a good line, but the Steelers are serious business. Now, if they can penetrate and get to Ryan Tannehill, create some disruption and problems, now we're looking at a different story. That's why I have him so low. So running backs, obviously for me, Alvin Kamara, Aaron Jones. I know Zeke's my number 3. I know you guys might be a little skeptical about everything, but he's got a lot of pressure on him. He's got to bounce back, right? As long as you're a Zeke owner, you're feeling the same way. Derrick Henry, Mike Davis, James Conner, Kareem Hunt, Chris Carson, Joe Mixon, Ronald Jones, Antonio Gibson, Todd Gurley, CEH, James Robinson. I don't like that matchup at all. But I feel like he's going to get the opportunities. Chargers have been really good against the run, but at the same time, I feel like he's just going to get the ball somehow, some way. David Johnson, Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, Justin Jackson, DeAndre Swift, number 19, David Montgomery, 20, Jerick McKinnon, 21. I know some of you guys might be saying, what are you doing with that? Well, he pass catches, and I think the Eagles out of defending pass catching running backs, they've allowed 21 out of 24 or 22 out of 24 catches. So the linebackers are pretty slow, to be honest with you. Devin Singletary, Boston Scott, and I have Phil Lindsay over Melvin Gordon. Phil Lindsay looked like a better back last week, and let's not forget that before this even happened, there was reports coming out of training camp saying that Phil Lindsay was the better back, and they didn't really know why they got Melvin Gordon. So I think we'll see, but I'm thinking even if they have a 50-50 split, I think Lindsay's going to come on top with that. Eric, how's your running back list looking like?
Yeah, I think we've been talking with each other. We've been thinking about fantasy so much. I think we're like matching up identically for about the first 12. It's pretty amazing. But yeah, so Kamara, I think he's easily number one this week against the second worst run D in the league. Even if you are nervous a little bit about Zeke, you're starting him. He's catching a lot of passes when they're losing, which we just saw. 11 targets last game. Derrick Henry, really bad matchup, but he can finish off a goal line run. I think he's in that type of matchup where if they're going to be moving the ball, he's going to be possibly slamming one in or two for touchdowns. So moving a little bit down further, I guess there's quite a bit of talk that Bell may not even play this week again. And CEH, I did move him down to 13. Let's see. Otherwise, Singletary playing the Jets this week, and we'll talk about him a little bit later. I like him at 16. 17, Swift, maybe his biggest fan, so I got to have him up a little bit. Kenny and Drake.
He traded for him.
At 8. Oh, go ahead. Trade for him. Early. After he dropped a touchdown pass to lose the game, I was like, that's my guy. It's time.
He said, I need him. I'm going to get you. Go ahead, though.
It's a story, man. That's what the hero messes up in the beginning and redeems himself later. I just saw it. So
it's true.
We'll see if it continues.
That's valid.
Kenny and Drake, 18. 19, Darrell Henderson. Gibson, a guy we both like a lot. I got to have Justin Jackson up. I think I got him up a little bit higher than you at 21. 22, David Montgomery, because who else do they have? 23, Boston Scott. Melvin Gordon, I have him also at around 24 like you have. You have him at 25. And like you said with the Kamara matchup, I do want a little piece of that too. I think Latavius Murray could be one of his weeks. So let's talk about receiver. Pat, go ahead.
Before we get to the receivers, I just want to piggyback off you, Mr. Eric. I also am very high, and it's an eye test, and pretty much Carolina sucks against running backs. So I am actually going to start. This is hard for some people, but I am going to put Latavius Murray over James Robinson this week. I'll be honest.
Ooh.
And in my mind, I'm thinking the worst case scenario, they'll have the same amount of points. James Robinson have way more opportunities, but it's way tougher defense. And I think Gardner Minshew is going to throw more than they're going to do that because they've been getting beat, surprisingly, the Chargers at the wide receiver position. Now, when it comes to Carolina, we already know that Drew Brees' arm is not the same, right? I can see them getting down to the 15-yard line and doing some Latavius. I can see Latavius getting 13 points off nothing, really. So that's what I'm going with, man. I'm confident. Watch out, Kev.
It's your choice. Go ahead. It's your choice. We always can do that.
Oh yeah.
You don't have to stick to this. It's not. You don't have to stick to the script, and no matter what.
This is my script. I'll stick to my script.
All right.
So, receiver-wise, I got D-Hop number 1, Devontae Adams number 2, Tyreek Hill 3, DK 4, Kenny G 5, Calvin Ridley 6, Julio 7, and that could be a toss-up, obviously. AJ Brown 9, Michael Thomas 10, Scary Terry 11, Allen Robinson 12, Keenan Allen, Chris Godwin, Will Fuller, Mike Evans, Tyler Lockett, Robbie Anderson, Chase Claypool, Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, Amari Cooper, Odell, CeeDee Lamb, DJ Shark, Darius Slayton. And I'm a little cautious with that one. On the other side of the ball, big play Slay is probably going to be defending him. And Tyler Boyd, James Crowder, my boy T. Higgins, Travis Fulgham, Juju Smith-Schuster, Mike Williams, Brandon Cooks, Tim Patrick, A.J. Green, and Keenan Cole. All right, that's my 1 through 36. How about you, Eric?
Yeah, I did review yours a little bit. I do agree with a lot of that. I mean, almost identical with the top guys. I think if you're playing DFS, the top 10 guys, it's going to be hard not to. I mean, they're so chalky, like Adams, Hopkins, Hill, DK this week. I mean, if you just started the Seattle offense, actually just start everybody in that game, that's not a bad move. But yeah, the only one I'm a little bit higher on, and maybe it's because he's probably my favorite player. I got Scary Terry versus Dallas. I got him at number 7. I got him up there, and I think he's going off. He's only got 1 touchdown right now, but I think this is the week it happens. I think he has a big week finally. He's got the yardage. He's got the speed. I think he's getting some touchdowns this game.
You know, I can't really go against you, Eric, because he is playing that junior tackle football team over there. So I won't be surprised. And I'm
about to throw that tweet we saw earlier about grab your jersey.
Yeah, right.
Head to Dallas for the tryouts. Yeah, Allen Robinson, I do like where you have him at 12. I think he's going to be getting a lot of Jalen Ramsey shadow, and even our guy, McLaurin. Ramsey held McLaurin to 26 yards a couple weeks ago. So that's the only thing that kind of scares me with Allen Robinson. But otherwise, we have very similar wide receiver 2s and the start of 3s. I did move up Travis Fulgham. You only can deny this man for so long until he's become their number 1. He is all over the place, and this might be coming out right before the Thursday night game, but he could be going off as we speak. But so and then I have Darius Slayton 27, Boyd 28, and then I have Brandon Cooks, Tim Patrick, and Cole Beasley. If John Brown's out, then I do want to get him. Maybe he's your flex option, even though he's not the biggest playmaker in the world, but he's been getting a lot of passes with John Brown if he's not available, and then A.J. Green. But tight end, Pat, if you want to go ahead.
Well, the top 3 are given. You got, George Kittle, Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, done. But then after that, I'm going to give Tanyan. I think, with the ankle, and it honestly looked bad last week, but there wasn't really him. It was more that offense. So I got Tanyan as 4, T.J. Hockenson at 5, Hunter Henry. Thank you, Herbert. Dalton Schultz, 7, Evan Ingram, 8. This is my last week, man. This is my last week of Evan Ingram because he ain't even on my team, and it makes me mad. Like, I don't know. What are they doing? Do something with the boy. Trade him, drop, do something because, Jared Cook, 9. Noah Fant is only 10 because they played with my mind, my emotions last week, but I believe he'll be back. Hayden Hurst, Rob Gronkowski, Jimmy Graham, Logan Thomas, and Darren Fells. Mr. Touchdown. What about you, Mr. Eric?
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to mix up the order for the top 3, but I just couldn't. I wanted to move Waller up a little bit. That's maybe the one I was leaning towards, but we got Kittle, Kelce, Waller, Tanyan, Hockenson. This guy's just invading the top 5 for tight ends on a bye week. You maybe wouldn't expect to ever see those 2 up there at the beginning of the season. Evan Ingram, they faked that, what was it, a punt to Evan Ingram, and somebody jumped, and he would have had a touchdown 2 weeks ago. So I don't know. They want to get him involved in weird ways. handling the ball. So I think he's got to start stringing some good games together. Hunter Henry, and then I like the way you put the rest of that together. And then Darren Fells. If Jordan Akins is out again, then definitely I'm playing him in DFS. Or I think I have Mark Andrews on a bye. I probably just slot him in, but don't tell anybody. Don't want him to get picked up.
And I have to agree with the Darren Fells. I have to agree highly because I think Deshaun, my boy, is going off. I remember so many people were so low on this man, acting like he wasn't worth this, and I kept saying, look at his first 3 games. What do you want from him? We already know his line don't protect. But now, moving on. What about defense, Eric? I got top 10 for defense. I got the Bills, Philly, Chiefs, the Bucks, Rams, Chargers, New England, Giants, Washington, and the Browns. How you feeling about that?
Yeah, we like the Bills. We always like the Bills against the Jets. Chiefs, Bucks, Rams, and then everything's the same almost. Philly, I slotted them a little bit down. I think it might be a better real life Philly effort against the Giants than fantasy, unless they get a touchdown, which we all know that's possible. But I slot them down to 6, the Eagles down to 6. It seems like I always have to mention this now. San Francisco and New England have the lowest over-under again, 43.5, so they got to be on there. And I have Giants, Chicago, Browns, and then I would put San Francisco on there as 11 since that over-under is so low. Yeah, now a new section here we're going over kickers. Pat got inspired last week, so go ahead, lead it off.
Well, I got to kick it off with
one guy.
My guy, Young Way Cool. That's got to be number 1. He's taking the top spot. And I got Bucker, Lutz, Prater, Crosby, Gonzalez, Suckup, Myers, Gregg, and Carlson. What about you?
The only concern I have with that list then is it's supposed to snow in Denver. We got to start looking out for that. I don't know how much it's going to snow yet, but I'm going to be getting on theweatherchannel.com. I'm going to be looking up random cities. I'm looking up the Meadowlands in New Jersey, and it's that time of year again where you just got to hop on, see what the weather's like. You don't want to be starting that kicker that they don't even try a field goal all game because
that's happened.
I've seen it. I've been on the good side of that. I know you've been on the bad side of that. Because that is demoralizing.
It can really just be watching. You know, it's getting a little nippy out there in some places. We'll see. I don't know if it'll be too heavy, but you never know if it's fresh. Switch. But keep in mind with that, man, you don't want to drop Bucker for some bum and then somebody scoops Bucker up, though. Keep that in mind while you're doing that, because that shoot yourself in the foot. But just don't do that. All right. Well, now we're gonna get into some trade scenarios and whatnot. How we've looked at trades. To begin with, we're gonna look at our comments for the page. So video comments on YouTube. I apologize. World.
I'll read the first one. We have one that just plainly says, just don't be given advice on trades. Cry face, which I think that might be directed at you. But, hey, maybe that just means you're trying to initiate some trades. I don't think that's
I take zero offense to anybody, But at the same time, we all got different thoughts, different wants, different needs. But if I'm coming to you with something, I'm looking out for both of us. Keep that in mind. But at the same time, we might not always. That's why it's your team. You don't want to do anything with them, so be it. You want to lose with those guys, so be it. That's your fault, So I don't take offense to that. We're just gonna skip that. Next comment. This is from Scotty Too Hottie. I promise you, I will not say that ever again in my life. This person is in a dilemma. He has Le'Veon, who just got traded to Chiefs, but CH had the best game of his young career last night. Is Le'Veon worth any trade value? I'm going to keep Le'Veon.
Read the next part, Pat. Read the next part.
Love you guys. Y'all are freaking awesome. That touched me. Appreciate it. Pause. Thank you. All right. Now back to your comment. I would keep Le'Veon. I'm not playing him. But I do think he's a safe cuff, honestly. But I don't think he's a solid flex play if need be. But we got to wait and see. Like Eric said, he might not even play this week. There could be different conditions and whatnot. So let's just wait and see. Definitely don't drop him or anything. I'm going to keep him right now because honestly, what are you going to get for him? You're going to get skimped right now to begin with. So what's the point? So just keep him right now. Let's play a hold right now. The next comment is from King Thread. He's ready to drop Marquise Brown in all leagues. No. If you paid attention last episode, Eric talked about how many targets he had in end zone. That could have been a crazy big day. I think overall the Ravens' offense is a little off. And kind of the same thing with trading Le'Veon. What are you going to get for him? All the people are going to do is throw exactly the facts that you already are aware of back in your face and tell you that he's not worth what you think you're going to get with him right now. So, but I do have high praise for. I think he's going to turn around. You got to think before he was dinged out last year with a foot injury. What was he then? I think overall the Ravens are still trying to figure themselves out. Lamar's not having the worst, but he's not having a Lamar season, but they'll get it figured out. Go ahead and hold him. On to our trade fours and trade aways. So we're going to give you 2 trade fours, each of us, and 2 trade aways, okay?
Yeah, this might be a good time. We're in the middle of the season. You might need a nudge, and you might need just a little bit of help. And if someone you can just see the red flags, but they have the talent, maybe it's time to make something happen. Maybe it's time to trade that person. But Pat, go ahead with your first recommendation. This is your trade for. So this is who you want.
I want the Chargers offense. I want the receivers. I think you got to think a lot of people don't have tape on Herbert, and he's slanging it, right? Just like the Joe Burrow thing. I won't say he's Joe Burrow. I'm not going to say that, but he is throwing it. He doesn't care. And with Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Hunter Henry, they're all going to eat. So I want, if you got a chance to take a low flyer, maybe a little trade on one of them. I think Keenan Allen's always the most overlooked receiver. People don't realize what he does week in, week out. So if somebody's taking for granted, essentially, I got this. Okay, do not look back at all. My second one is Raheem Mostert. Couple reasons. First of all, his value is never going to be lower than right now. But with that being said, if you make a trade before the week's end, there's reports saying he might not even go to the IR now. He might just be out 1 to 2 weeks. And now I'm not going to say the next 5 weeks he's going to be the most valuable person. But let's go back in the past. Let's take a time travel back to the end of last year. What did that man do? Dominant, right? And you got to keep thinking that they know how talented he is. They gave him his money. And the last 3 games, crucial part of this playoffs, great schedule. So I'm advising you right now, while you have an opportunity, to go get him. Throw somebody, if they're 1-5 and they're desperate, hey, look, this dude's going to be a little crutch for at least 4 or 5 weeks. You need these crucial wins. Tell them what you got to. Tell them what they got to hear. Some people need a little slapping, this and this, but tell them what they need to hear. Okay? Eric, who are your 2 trade fours?
We might need some examples of. I might need to hear some examples of your banter. Well, maybe not today, but just things you'll say to people. That's the gold stuff. That's we don't have to talk about it right now, but save it.
Hey, reverse psychology. Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
So my number one person that I think is a little bit, maybe not. Their value isn't too low right now. It's not too high. But after that horrible showing against the Steelers, I think I'd go for Kareem Hunt right now. So that might have been his worst game of the season. He's a little bit banged up. No Nick Chubb, at least for another couple of months. I'm not counting on Chubb to step right back in. As usual, that's a major injury that happened to his knee. He had it's maybe the worst video maybe I've ever seen is him messing up his other knee in college. Maybe don't look that up, but it's his other knee. Trust me. I'm not. Let's see. And then basically Hunt also gets the two New York teams weeks 15 and 16. So if you think you're maybe set up and you're just a couple players away from possibly competing in the playoffs, that's one of the guys that could really win you a championship. Weeks 15, 16, New York, back to back. That's about as good as it gets right now. We know how defenses are right now, barring a lot of injuries in certain areas to defenses. We can see it now, as we're midway through the year. Other guy maybe that is going a little bit overlooked right now is Adam Thielen. He's on a bye right now. There's so much buzz for Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson having the most yards since 1970 by a rookie. He has, but I think that Thielen has less boom or bust weeks. I look maybe to trade maybe running back 3, maybe see if you can match up another receiver with RB3 to maybe go after Thielen right now. I think the buzz is low. You're not really buying low, but I think he's worth looking into with one of his owners. Pat, do you want to go ahead and speak about who you would trade away, who you're not feeling right now?
Well, that's a receiver group. I'm trading away the Dallas Cowgirls. And, I don't know what else to tell you. They looked awful. And I think they're going to start getting their own head about, you got to think they're losing offensive linemen. Now they're trying to feed Zeke. Now they're trying to do too much, and I don't think that it's going to go well for anybody. I do, however, think that Dalton Schultz will continue to be a solid because, he's a safety valve. Like, he's going to get the dump-offs and whatnot. But overall, I'm good. I don't want none of that. They're great talents. CeeDee Lamb, respect all, but I'm good. My next, who I already traded away weeks ago, deuces, didn't like it. Joe Mixon. I think just overall the line's not good. He's going to have a couple glimpses here and there, and that's because of opportunities. But overall, I'm good on Joe Mixon. That's why I got rid of the man. It's not his fault. He's not a bad player. Let me make that clear. It's just you see how he's built a quick pass. They're not even thinking about this man. They don't even give it. The line is just not going to work. And for how much he's getting these opportunities, you got to think how many people are getting hurt. And he's already a little, banged up here and there. So I'm good on that. I'd advise you to get rid of the boy. Get what you can. Obviously, he's a running back. So he's going to have value. Running backs always have value, but get rid of him.
Okay. Yeah, and we didn't even talk about this before, but I had him on my list as one of mine. I have him. Maybe we both got him. He slipped a little bit in the draft, but I guess he's got a foot sprain. I watched a fantasy doctor, guy specializes in injuries, kind of talking about scenarios going on right now on YouTube. It's Fantasy Doctors. I'll put a link in the description to give him some credit. But he basically is talking about his foot sprain is actually much worse than an ankle sprain, and he thinks he went back in the game because it hadn't started to swell up, but now with it being days later, he's not practicing. It's Wednesday. If he still doesn't practice the rest of the week, it could mean that his foot swelled up, and it could be like a Cam Newton situation where they call it a season. So that's pretty freaking scary. So, but that's not an absolute thing. It is very possible though. So that's that makes me nervous having him. Doesn't that sound bad? But otherwise, I think he really hasn't been the focal point in the offense. They have these 3 receivers that are so efficient. They're moving the ball. He's almost an afterthought, so I have him on my list too. My other player is Devin Singletary. They have the worst running back schedule you'll ever see. The last 4 weeks of the season, I think starting week 13, they have at San Francisco, versus Pittsburgh, at Denver, at New England, and they do not run the ball well. So what is he going to be doing in those games? It just does not look great. He didn't really even have a good game against the Chiefs, but what we're banking on is him just to go out, go crazy against the Jets this week. That's what we got to hope for. If you have him, you're rooting him on this week against the Jets. He's got to go for it. He's got to get like 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. He's got to show people, and then you trade him as fast as you possibly can. Get rid of him because they don't even run the ball well. The only person to run the ball well is Josh Allen. So That's definitely my guy. But if you've got him, you're in a really bad spot, and you got to hope for him to
You
go
got
off.
to think Zach. They like Zach Moss too, and they're still gonna be playing that game, going back and forth. And
right.
the only thing worse than a running back committee is a running back committee that doesn't run the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think that wraps it up, Pat.
Right, well,
you wanna
that was
tell the people where to look,
4.
what to do?
Appreciate everybody. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and stay tuned. And get on our social media channels. We got Twitter, we got Instagram. Go ahead, give us a like or something like that, just so we can get our name out there and help you guys. I mean, we got a lot of advice for you guys, and we want to give it to you guys. So let's take advantage. Send us your questions. Do what you have to. Stop texting us. Go to our channels. But other than that, be safe. I would say watch tomorrow night, but I guess we could. The only thing I don't know what else to look forward to is Fulgham, to be honest. But hey, that's just me. Safe travels, everybody. We'll see you next episode.